The battlefield in deep space was silent now, but the silence was not peaceful. It was heavy, full of smoke, broken ships, and drifting bodies. The great war between the human fleet and the alien mercenaries had ended only hours ago. Many lives were lost, many ships destroyed among the wreckage. One human soldier was still alive. His name was Captain Ryan Hale. He floated near the ruins of his burning cruiser. The alarms in his suit were weak, the oxygen running low, but his mind was sharp. His training strong, he refused to give up. Because humans never give up, Ryan pushed himself across the wreck. Searching for weapons, he found a rifle still charged, dented but working. As he turned, he saw a movement on the edge of the battlefield. Through the drifting smoke, a tall armored figure stood still. It was one of them, the alien mercenaries. Her armor was black, sharp-edged, designed for fear. The mask covered her face completely, glowing red lines pulsing across it. Her tall frame looked unbreakable. Ryan raised his rifle at once, finger on the trigger. His heart raced, one wrong move and he was dead. But the alien did not attack. She did not raise her weapon. She just stood there, silent, staring. The glow of her armor reflected against the broken metal of the ships. It was strange, too strange. Why would an alien mercenary, feared across the galaxy, just stand and watch? Ryan shouted through his comm, his voice strong though his lungs ached. "Don't move, alien. You try anything and I shoot." But no answer came. The alien tilted her head slightly like she was studying him, like he was some puzzle she could not understand. The silence grew longer. Ryan's breathing filled his helmet, loud and uneven. He thought of all the stories he had heard about these mercenaries, how they killed without mercy, how they tore through human colonies like wolves in the dark, and now one stood right in front of him, but refused to fight. The tension pulled at his mind. He did not trust it, he could not trust it. But a strange thought entered his head. If she wanted him dead, he would already be dead. Her blade was sharper, her armor stronger, her speed greater, so why wait? Ryan kept his weapon steady. He tried to see her face through the mask, but the armor revealed nothing, only the red glow of her helmet eyes staring back. Then slowly, very slowly, the alien lifted a hand not to strike, but to touch the side of her helmet. Ryan's muscles tightened. His finger pressed the trigger halfway. Any second she could fire, any second she could strike. But she didn't. Instead, she unlocked her helmet with a sharp hiss. The mask released, steam escaping into the void of space. Ryan froze, not believing what he was seeing. The alien mercenary was removing her helmet, something no enemy had ever done in front of a human. The sound of the release echoed in his ears. The mask lifted, and for the first time, Ryan saw what was beneath. It was not a monster, not a beast, not a faceless demon. It was a woman, alien. Yes, but human-like in form. Her skin was pale with a faint silver tone. Her eyes glowed faint blue, bright like cold fire. Her hair, dark and braided, fell down her shoulder as the helmet came off. Ryan's rifle lowered an inch without him realizing. Shock ran through his mind. All his life he had been told mercenaries were inhuman monsters, creatures of war who wore armor to hide their true horror. But what he saw now was different. Strange, yes, but not horror, not beast. Her face was proud, scarred, strong, but alive almost. Noble, the alien mercenary looked directly at him. Her lips curled into something between a smirk and a challenge. The battlefield around them was forgotten. For a moment there was only him and her, human and alien, staring across the smoke, enemies by war. But something new was beginning. Ryan swallowed hard, unsure what to say. His mind shouted, "Be careful, don't trust her." But another voice whispered, "Something is different here." The alien's armor glowed faintly as she held the helmet by her side. Then finally she spoke. Her voice was rough, broken but clear enough. "You fight, human," she said slowly. "You fight with heart." Ryan's blood froze. He had never heard an alien mercenary speak in his tongue before. And now, not only was she speaking, she was praising him. The mystery deepened. This was no ordinary encounter. This was the beginning of something far greater. The silence between Captain Ryan and the alien mercenary stretched like a wire about to snap. Neither moved, neither blinked. The battlefield around them forgotten. Broken ships drifted. Fires burned quietly in the distance. But here, in this moment, only two figures remained alive, human and alien, staring across the wreckage. Ryan's rifle was still raised, but his grip had weakened. He had expected a monster, something that would leap at him the second he turned away. Instead, he faced a woman, scarred yet calm, dangerous yet strangely controlled. Her silver-toned skin shimmered faintly in the dim light, her blue eyes glowing like hidden fire. Her helmet now rested at her side, an unthinkable act for a mercenary. Ryan spoke first, voice sharp and steady, though his heart raced. "Stay where you are, alien. I don't trust this." The mercenary tilted her head again, studying him. Her lips moved slowly as if tasting the human language. "You fear," she said in broken English. "But you do not run." Ryan's jaw tightened. Fear? Yes, he felt it. Any soldier would, but he would never show it. Humans did not run, not from mercenaries. Not from monsters, not from anything. He kept his weapon aimed at her chest, his finger firm on the trigger. One wrong move and he would fire. The alien's gaze flicked down to the barrel of his rifle. She could see the weapon was ready, yet instead of preparing to fight, she slowly spread her arms. Her hands were empty, open, as if she were surrendering, but her eyes, sharp and glowing, told a different story. She was not weak, she was not afraid. Ryan frowned, suspicion twisting in his mind. What game was she playing? Mercenaries were killers, mercenaries were slaves to their warlords, mercenaries were machines of war. And yet here she was, lowering her guard in front of a human enemy. Why? "Don't try to trick me," Ryan warned, his voice low. The alien tilted her head again, and this time her lips curved slightly. It was not a smile, but something close, half amusement, half challenge. "You think I need trick?" she asked. Her voice was rough, broken, but it carried weight, like every word cost her something. Ryan's grip on the rifle tightened again. She was mocking him, but not cruelly. It was as though she was testing him, pushing to see how much fear he could handle, and he refused to give her that satisfaction. The air between them grew heavier. Ryan's breathing echoed in his helmet, her faint, steady breaths visible in the thin mist that leaked from her armor. Two predators caught in the same cage, waiting for the other to strike first. But instead of attacking, the mercenary took a step forward. Ryan immediately raised his weapon higher, ready to fire. "Stop right there," he barked. The alien paused, her glowing eyes locked on his. She had obeyed, but not out of fear. It was more like, "Respect you. Strong," she said slowly. "You fight. Longer than many, your kind. Stubborn." Ryan's stomach turned. Was she praising humanity or mocking them? He couldn't tell, and that uncertainty gnawed at him harder than open battle ever could. The standoff stretched on, seconds turning into long, painful minutes. Ryan knew one thing clearly. If he hesitated too much, he would die. But if he pulled the trigger too soon, he might be throwing away something important. He had faced hundreds of enemies before, but never like this. This was not war as he knew it. This was different. Finally, Ryan shifted his stance, his voice calmer but firm. "Why are you here? Why aren't you killing me like the rest of my men?" The alien's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. She looked at him, then at the wreckage of the battlefield around them. "Kill?" She repeated, her voice quiet. "Always kill. It is order, not choice." Her words struck him harder than any weapon. Order, not choice. For the first time, Ryan wondered. Were these mercenaries truly willing killers, or were they forced into it, slaves in armor? The thought unsettled him more than any plasma blade. Still, he didn't lower his weapon. "Then why stop now?" he demanded. The mercenary stared at him, silent for a long moment. Then, without warning, she slowly reached down to her side. Ryan tensed, weapon ready, but she did not draw a blade, did not raise a gun. Instead, she placed her helmet carefully on the broken ground at her feet. An act of trust or an act of defiance, it was impossible to know. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Every instinct screamed that this was wrong. Dangerous, unpredictable, and yet deep inside, another voice whispered something else. This was not just an enemy. This was someone standing on the edge of a choice, someone who might tip the future in a direction he could not yet see. For the first time since the war began, Ryan felt the strange pull of something more powerful than fear, curiosity. The helmet rested on the shattered ground, its red lights fading slowly. For Captain Ryan, the sight felt unreal. An alien mercenary without her mask, exposed before a human. Every story he had heard in military training said the same thing. Mercenaries never remove their armor, not even among their own kind. Their armor was not only protection, it was identity, it was power. To take it off meant weakness, and mercenaries never showed weakness, and yet here she stood, her pale silver skin glinting faintly under the fires of the battlefield, her blue glowing eyes watching him with a strange mix of challenge and calm. She had scars across her cheek and jaw, old wounds healed but not hidden. There was no shame in her face, only pride. Ryan's rifle remained steady, but his thoughts raced faster than bullets. "Why show me this?" he asked, his voice low. The mercenary did not answer right away. Instead, she breathed slowly, her chest rising and falling as if she was remembering something long forgotten. Finally, she said, "Because no human has seen me." Her words, broken but clear, hung in the air like smoke that refused to fade. Ryan's eyes narrowed. "No human?" he repeated, his tone sharp. She shook her head once, her braid slipping over her shoulder. "Humans die, before they see. Always die," she explained. There was no cruelty in her voice, no pride in the killing, only a tired truth. Ryan's throat tightened. He had seen comrades fall, whole squads destroyed by mercenaries. He had imagined monsters under the armor, demons that had no face. But this woman, this alien, looked almost human. Different, yes, but alive. Thinking, feeling. It broke everything he thought he knew. For a long moment, neither spoke. The drifting debris of ruined ships floated quietly between them. A cracked metal wing spun slowly past, glowing from fire still eating at its edges. The war around them felt distant now, like another life. Here stood two survivors, enemies by command, but caught in something stranger. Ryan adjusted his stance, still holding his rifle tight, but in his heart, the question grew heavier. Should he keep aiming at her? If she wanted him dead, why waste time with words? Why not strike already? And yet she didn't. Instead, she took one more slow step forward, careful, measured. Her glowing eyes locked on him, searching him. "You fight different," she said, voice rough but steady. "You fight not for glory, not for masters. You fight for each other." Ryan's jaw tightened. He wanted to deny her, to spit back that she didn't know humans at all, but deep down her words rang true. Humanity's strength was not in ships or weapons, it was in loyalty, in heart. "You don't know anything about us," he shot back, but his tone lacked the fire he wanted. The mercenary tilted her head, and for the first time, Ryan noticed something new in her expression. Not mockery, not threat, but something close to respect. She pointed slowly to his chest, her finger tapping against her own armor. "You stand, alone," she said. "Your ship gone, your men gone, but still you raise weapon." Ryan said nothing. His silence spoke enough. He would not lower his guard, not now, not ever. The alien's gaze softened, if only for a moment. Her eyes flickered with something he could not name. Pain, memory, maybe even longing. Then her lips moved again, slower this time, as if the words themselves hurt to say. "I was not always this," she whispered. Ryan's brow furrowed, his finger tightening on the trigger. "What do you mean?" he demanded, but she did not answer, not yet. Instead, she lifted her arm, and with a hiss, the plates of her gauntlet unlocked. The heavy metal piece slid away, falling with a dull clang onto the broken deck. Now her hand was bare, slender, silver-skinned, scarred across the palm. It shook faintly, though her stance remained proud. Ryan's eyes widened. First the helmet, now her armor. Piece by piece, she was revealing herself. No mercenary would do this. No mercenary should do this. And yet she did. Ryan's voice dropped, quiet but sharp. "Why? What are you trying to prove?" The alien mercenary looked at him, her glowing eyes burning brighter. Her reply came soft, but it struck harder than any weapon. "That I choose," she said. The words hit Ryan like a blade through armor. Choose. What did she mean? Did she mean she chose not to kill him? Did she mean she chose to show him her face, her scars, her truth? The mercenaries were known as slaves to their warlords, bound by command. But here stood one who claimed choice. Ryan lowered his rifle just an inch, his eyes narrowing as he searched hers. He wanted to believe she was lying, wanted to believe this was just another trick. But nothing in her voice, nothing in her face spoke of lies. She looked at him not like prey, not like an enemy, but like someone desperate to be seen. For the first time, Captain Ryan felt the weight of something greater than survival. This encounter was not just about life or death. It was about truth, and the truth once revealed could change everything. The alien mercenary stood before him, half-armored, half-exposed, her glowing eyes fixed on his, her voice steady. "You are human," she said, "and you must see." Captain Ryan's pulse hammered in his chest. The alien mercenary stood before him with part of her armor removed, her helmet discarded, her hand bare. Her glowing blue eyes burned into him as though she wanted him to see not just her body, but her truth. And then came those words, simple but sharp. "That I choose." Ryan's finger tightened again on the trigger. His instincts screamed at him to fire, to end this strange game before it was too late. But another voice in his mind, quieter, older, told him to wait, because something was happening here that no training manual had ever prepared him for. "Choose what?" Ryan demanded, his voice firm but edged with confusion. The alien tilted her head, her braid shifting against her scarred shoulder. "Choose not to kill you," she said. The words were heavy, broken, but clear enough. Ryan's breath caught. It was the last thing he had expected to hear. Mercenaries never spared humans. Mercenaries followed orders. They killed without pause. They never questioned. Yet here she stood, refusing to strike, refusing to obey what every soldier knew she should. It was madness, impossible, yet real. "You expect me to believe that?" Ryan said harshly. His voice carried anger, but beneath it was something else, uncertainty. The alien's glowing eyes softened slightly, not with pity, but with strange patience. "You believe what you see," she said. She lifted her hand slowly, palm outward, showing the scars, showing the choice. Ryan's rifle trembled in his grip. The silence between them thickened. Ryan thought of his fallen squad, of the human fleet shattered by these mercenaries. His heart screamed for vengeance, but his eyes saw something different. Not a monster, but a warrior who stood apart from the rest. Her scars told a story. Her words hinted at rebellion. He could not look away. "Why me?" Ryan asked at last. It was not the question of a soldier, but of a man desperate for reason. "Why show this to me?" The alien took a slow breath, the sound of her armor hissing faintly as it adjusted to her movement. "Because you fought," she said. "You fight with heart, when others fall." Ryan swallowed hard. It was not praise he wanted, but hearing it from her shook him. Humanity's enemies had always mocked them as weak, fragile, short-lived. Yet here stood one of the galaxy's most feared mercenaries, and she was telling him the opposite. Her eyes narrowed slightly as if testing him again. "You do not bow. You do not beg," she continued. "Even alone, you raise weapon." Ryan felt his throat tighten. She was not wrong. Humans fought. Even when the fight was hopeless, it was what made them human. But Ryan could not let himself trust too easily. "Words mean nothing," he said sharply. "Prove you're not playing some trick." The alien's gaze flicked downward. Then slowly, she unlocked another piece of armor, her shoulder guard. The heavy plate clattered onto the wreckage at her feet. Piece by piece, she was unmaking the symbol of her mercenary self. Ryan stared in silence. Each discarded piece of armor felt like another wall falling. Each action screamed risk, trust, or defiance, he could not yet tell which. Finally, the alien met his gaze again. Her voice was low but unshaken. "I fight because ordered," she said, "but I choose to show you me." Her words cut through the smoke-filled air. Ryan lowered his rifle just slightly, not out of weakness but out of shock. He had expected lies, But her eyes burned with a truth he could not deny. She was not tricking him. She was revealing something forbidden. For a moment, the battlefield around them disappeared. The fires, the drifting wreckage, the smell of scorched metal, all faded into the background. There was only Ryan and her, two warriors facing each other without masks, enemy lines blurred, duty shaken. Ryan's chest rose and fell as he tried to steady himself. "Why tell me this?" he asked quietly, almost against his will. The alien's answer came after a long pause. "Because one day," she said, "your kind will face more greater than me." Her eyes glowed brighter, the blue light almost piercing. "And when that day comes, you must know not all enemies are truly enemies." Ryan froze at her words. Something deep inside them carried weight beyond this war. She was not only speaking for herself, she was warning him. A mercenary warning a human soldier? Impossible. Yet here it was, raw and undeniable. The tension between them shifted. It was no longer predator versus prey. It was something more fragile, more dangerous. A bridge forming where no bridge should exist. Finally, Ryan let out a long breath. His rifle lowered another inch, not dropped, but less threatening. The alien mercenary's glowing eyes followed the movement carefully. Her lips curved ever so slightly, not in triumph, but in acknowledgement. For the first time, Ryan realized something terrifying. She had not come here to kill him. She had come here to be seen. And her response to his weapon, his threat, his fear, was not violence. It was truth. The battlefield was quiet, but Captain Ryan could feel the storm building inside him. He stood with his rifle half raised, staring at the alien mercenary who had revealed more than he ever thought possible. Her helmet lay discarded, her shoulder guard gone, her glowing blue eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made it hard to breathe. Every soldier's handbook said to kill the enemy on sight, and yet Ryan did not fire. The silence stretched, broken only by the hiss of her armor releasing heat. Finally, Ryan spoke, his voice rough from smoke and tension. "You said you choose," he reminded her. "You said you're not like the others. Then tell me why, tell me the truth." The alien lowered her gaze for a moment. Her fingers brushed across the scars on her bare hand. For the first time, Ryan thought she looked less like a weapon of war, and more like someone carrying a weight too heavy to bear. When she spoke again, her words were soft. "I was taken," she said slowly. "Taken when young. From my home, my people." Ryan's chest tightened. He had heard rumors before, whispers that mercenaries were slaves bred for war, but no one had ever survived long enough to confirm it. Now the truth stood before him in the smoke and wreckage. "They made us soldiers," she continued. Her voice cracked slightly, as though the words themselves cut into her. "They cut away choice. They gave orders and we obeyed. Armor became cage, became skin. We killed not because we wanted, but because we were told." Ryan's grip on his rifle weakened. He had hated these mercenaries for years, but now he imagined her as a child, ripped away from family, molded into a living weapon. It was not the monster he had been trained to see. It was tragedy hidden inside steel. "Why tell me this?" Ryan asked carefully. His tone was sharp, but curiosity burned in his chest. The alien mercenary lifted her glowing eyes to his. "Because you fight different," she said. "You humans fight with choice. You fight because you want to protect, not because someone forces you." Ryan's breath caught. Her words dug into him. She was right. Humans fought for each other, for family, for survival, not because of chains, but because of love. It was what made them dangerous, what made them unpredictable. It was what made them human. The alien's gaze hardened again. "You must understand," she said. "Mercenaries are feared, but we are also prisoners. We are bound by code, by pain, by masters who watch every step." Her voice dropped, sharp with bitterness. "They think us loyal, but inside, many of us dream of freedom. Most die with that dream still locked away." Ryan's mind reeled. The idea of mercenaries dreaming of freedom was beyond belief. But looking into her glowing eyes, he saw no lies, only raw truth. And with that truth came something far more dangerous than war. Hope. Ryan steadied himself. "So why me?" he pressed. "Why show me the secret? You could have killed me and walked away." The alien mercenary took a step closer, slow, deliberate. Her voice was low but powerful. "Because you listened," she said. "You raised weapon. Yes, but you did not shoot. You waited, you saw. Ryan swallowed hard. He wanted to deny it, but she was right. He had seen something different in her the moment she removed her helmet, something his instincts told him not to ignore. For the first time, Ryan lowered his rifle slightly more, not enough to leave him defenseless, but enough to show he was listening, the alien noticed, her glowing eyes flickering with something strange, gratitude. Perhaps then she did something even more shocking. She reached behind her chest plate and pressed a hidden release. The armor hissed and unlocked, falling away piece by piece, until only a thin layer of undersuit remained. Her body, scarred and marked by battles, was no longer hidden. Ryan's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" he asked sharply. The alien's response came with fierce clarity. "Showing you truth," she said. "No mask, no cage, only me. So you know. Not all mercenaries are the same." Her scars told stories, long slashes across her arms, burns across her ribs. Every mark was a reminder of battles fought, of orders followed, of freedom denied. Ryan had seen countless wounds on soldiers before, but these were different. These were wounds not just from war, but from slavery. He felt his throat tighten again. This was no trick, no deception. This was her secret, laid bare before him, something no human had ever been allowed to see. The mercenary stepped closer, her voice steady. "If you kill me now, my secret dies with me, but if you let me live, human, then maybe one day your kind will understand that we are not all your enemies." Ryan froze. The weight of her words pressed against his chest heavier than his rifle. She had given him the one thing no soldier expected from the enemy, a choice. For the first time since the war began, Ryan realized this was no ordinary fight. It was the beginning of something far greater, a secret that could shatter everything humanity thought it knew about the galaxy. The wreckage around Captain Ryan floated silently, but inside his chest the storm grew louder. The alien mercenary had stripped away her armor piece by piece, revealing scars, secrets, and a truth that no human had ever heard. She was not only a weapon, she was a prisoner, a fighter forced to kill. Ryan's rifle trembled in his hands. This moment was no longer about war. It was about choice, and then the silence shattered. From the far edge of the battlefield, a dark shape cut through the smoke. Engines roared. Lights flared. It was another warship, a hostile vessel. Mercenary colors painted across its hull. Ryan's stomach dropped. If they spotted him, he was dead. And if they saw her without armor, she was dead too. The alien mercenary turned her head slowly, her glowing eyes narrowing. "They come," she said. Her voice was low, grim. Ryan raised his rifle again, though it was useless against a ship that size. "How many?" he asked. "Too many," she replied. Her words were heavy, final. The warship fired flares into the wreckage. Searching for survivors, Ryan ducked behind a broken engine, his breath sharp and fast. The mercenary didn't hide. She stood tall, watching the ship like she had faced this threat 100 times before. Ryan whispered harshly, "If they find us, we're finished." She turned to him, her glowing eyes steady. "Not if we fight. Together." Ryan froze at her words. Together? A human soldier and an alien mercenary fighting side by side. It was madness, impossible, unthinkable, and yet, in this moment, it was the only chance. "You're asking me to trust you," Ryan said sharply. The alien stepped closer, her voice cold but certain. "No, human. I ask you to survive." The warship's lights swept over the wreckage, beams slicing through the drifting debris. Ryan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. If they were seen, the ship would unleash firepower that neither could withstand. The mercenary reached to her side and pulled a blade from her belt. It shimmered faintly, humming with energy.
She held it out, not toward Ryan,
but toward the enemy ship. "You fight with gun. I fight with steel," she said. "Together, maybe we live." Ryan looked at her weapon, then at his rifle. His training told him to kill her and escape, but escape to where? His ship was destroyed, his squad gone, his oxygen failing. The only way forward was through, and the only ally left in the galaxy was the very enemy he had sworn to kill. Slowly, Ryan lowered his rifle. "Fine," he said, his voice rough but steady. "But if you betray me, I'll end you myself." The alien gave a small, sharp nod. "Good," she said simply. "Then we understand." The warship released small scout drones into the wreckage, metal spheres armed and scanning with red beams of light. Ryan and the mercenary ducked into cover. The drones swept past, searching for heat, movement, sound. One beam passed inches from Ryan's helmet. He held his breath until his lungs burned. Then one of the drones spotted them. Its red light locked, its weapon primed. Go, the mercenary barked. She leapt forward with impossible speed, her blade cutting through the drone in a flash of sparks. Ryan raised his rifle and fired at another, shattering it in a burst of light. The wreckage around them exploded into chaos. The mercenary fought like a storm, her blade cutting down machines before they could fire. Ryan covered her from behind, precise shots striking the ones she couldn't reach. For the first time they moved as one, enemy and human, back to back. Surviving together, more drones swarmed in. The warship had seen them, and now it sent reinforcements. Ryan shouted over the noise, "We can't fight them all." The alien spun her blade, sparks flying. "Then we fight enough to run," she growled. They pushed forward. Deeper into the wreckage, metal groaned around them. Fire rained down from broken hulls, the drones chased close, beams flashing across the battlefield. Ryan fired until his rifle overheated. The mercenary shielded him with her blade, sparks bursting with every strike. Finally, they reached the cover of a half-destroyed frigate. Breathing hard, Ryan leaned against the wall, sweat dripping down his face. The alien mercenary stood tall beside him, her glowing eyes fierce. "You fight well," she said. Ryan shot her a glare. "Don't start praising me now," he muttered, but deep inside he felt something shift. She had protected him not because she was ordered to, not because she had to, but because she chose to. The very thing she had told him before. Choice was now real, and Ryan couldn't ignore it. The warship circled above, drones still swarming. Ryan checked his rifle, low on power, almost empty. The mercenary's blade flickered with fading energy. They were cornered, but not yet finished. Ryan looked at her. "You still want to fight with me?" he asked. Her glowing eyes burned brighter. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Because alone we die. But together, we have chance." Ryan clenched his jaw, then nodded. "Then let's make them regret finding us," he said. For the first time, the alien mercenary allowed a small smile. It was sharp, dangerous, but real. "Now you sound like me," she replied, and with that, human and alien prepared to fight as one, enemies no longer, but allies in the face of death. Their alliance was fragile, born of fire and desperation. But in this battlefield, it was enough to shake the fate of two worlds. The wrecked frigate shook as enemy fire struck its side. Metal screamed, sparks burst, and broken walls collapsed. Captain Ryan gritted his teeth and raised his rifle again. Even though the power cell was almost dry, beside him, the alien mercenary spun her glowing blade, its light flickering but deadly. Two warriors, once enemies, now pressed together against a storm far greater than either of them alone. The warship above unleashed another wave of scout drones. They came like a swarm of metal hornets, red eyes glowing, weapons humming. Ryan dropped to one knee and fired 3 quick bursts. 2 drones exploded in sparks. The third dodged and came closer. Before it could strike, the mercenary leapt forward, her blade slicing it clean in half. "More coming," Ryan shouted. She didn't answer, she didn't need to. Her glowing eyes locked on the sky, calculating every movement. Ryan realized then she fought not like a machine following orders, but like a predator unleashed. Fast, free, dangerous, the swarm closed in. Beams cutting through the wreckage. Ryan ducked under falling debris, firing until his rifle hissed with heat. The mercenary moved like lightning, blade flashing, sparks raining down. Every strike was clean, every motion precise. For the first time, Ryan felt he wasn't just fighting with her, he was matching her. "Behind you," Ryan shouted. She spun instantly, her blade carving through 2 drones at once. Ryan dropped another with a clean headshot. The battlefield became chaos, smoke, fire, explosions, and the echo of metal shattering. And in that chaos, something new was born. Rhythm. Human and alien fighting in sync, step for step, strike for strike. The drones adapted, shifting tactics. Some circled above, raining fire from distance. Others dived straight in, forcing close combat. Ryan cursed as one beam grazed his shoulder. The armor sizzling, he nearly fell, but the mercenary was there. Her blade cut the drone before it finished him, sparks showering his visor. "You live," she said flatly. Ryan barked a breathless laugh. "Thanks to you." The warship itself grew impatient. Heavy cannons turned, aiming straight at the wreckage where they hid. Ryan's stomach twisted. One direct hit and they'd both be vaporized. "We need to move," he shouted. The mercenary nodded once. Her eyes glowed brighter, fierce with fire. "We strike them first," she growled. Ryan blinked. Strike?
That's suicide!
She stepped closer, her scarred face set with iron. Fight or die, human. There is no hide. Ryan looked at the ruined battlefield, the endless swarm of drones, the massive warship above, and he knew she was right. Hiding meant death, running meant death. The only path forward was insane. Attack. Fine, Ryan said, forcing strength into his voice. But if we're doing this, we do it together. The mercenary's lips curved into the faintest, sharpest smile. Together, she agreed. They broke from cover, sprinting across broken decks and shattered hulls. Drones swarmed instantly, beams chasing them, explosions rocking the wreckage under their feet. Ryan fired blindly, dropping 2, 3, 4 more. The mercenary cut a path through the rest, her blade singing through the air. The warship above turned its cannons down. The battlefield glowed with charging energy. Now, the mercenary roared. They dove into the shadow of a broken cruiser, just as a cannon blast tore the ground apart. The shockwave hurled them forward, flames licking their armor. Ryan coughed hard, dragging himself up. She rose beside him, eyes still burning, blade still ready. Nothing could break her will. And seeing that, Ryan felt his own strength surge. The drones regrouped, forming a ring around them. Red lights glaring, weapons aimed. Ryan clenched his rifle, ready for one final stand. But the mercenary moved first. She slammed her blade into the wreckage floor, activating its energy core. The strike sent a pulse of light surging outward. The nearest drones exploded instantly. Others staggered, systems fried. Ryan wasted no time. He fired at the survivors, clearing the ring. For a moment, the battlefield went still again. Ryan's chest heaved, his rifle smoking. The mercenary pulled her blade free, its glow dim but alive. They stood together, back to back, surrounded by fire and wreckage, enemies once, allies now. And still alive, Ryan glanced at her. "You're insane," he muttered between breaths. Her sharp smirk returned. "Better insane than dead," she replied. Above them, the warship shifted, preparing another barrage. Ryan knew they couldn't win this fight forever, but in that moment it didn't matter. Because something impossible had happened here. A human soldier and an alien mercenary. Fighting as one, and against all odds, they were still standing. For the first time since the battle began, Ryan felt something more than fear. He felt pride. Not just pride in humanity, but pride in this fragile, impossible alliance, because together, they had proven something the galaxy had never seen. That even enemies could fight side by side. That humanity's greatest strength, its heart, could turn foes into allies. The warship roared above. Fire ready to rain down again, Ryan reloaded. The mercenary tightened her grip on her fading blade. They locked eyes one last time. "Ready?" she asked. Ryan smirked, despite the madness of it all. "Always," he said, and side by side they charged once more into the storm.